Marble Hill is a beautiful property that sits in the heart of the local community. It has been completely transformed in the last number of years with kind funding from the National Lottery Heritage Fund, the National Lottery Community Fund and English Heritage. We've invested £8 million into both the park and the house. We've completely restored the house itself, creating a new visitor experience with beautiful interpretation for families to enjoy. Within the landscape itself and across the park, all the facilities have been upgraded. We've got fantastic gardens for visitors to enjoy, from the wildflower meadows to the Ice House Quarter and the 9-pin alley. There's so much for visitors to enjoy today.
When Henrietta embarked on building this house and the garden in which it sits in 1724, she had been on what we might call today a bit of a journey. She was orphaned as a child, and she then made a disastrous marriage to Charles Howard, a man who was a gambler, a drinker, who spent all her money, and then when things got really difficult, was violent and abusive to her. Henrietta was determined to find a way out of this poverty and a way out of this situation. She was a popular courtier with a gift for friendship, and she became the mistress of the Prince of Wales, who was to become George II. And it was really through this that she was able to afford to build this house. George II gave her a gift of furniture, cash, stocks and shares, which enabled her to fund the building of Marble Hill. And importantly, he helped protect this gift from her estranged husband, Charles Howard. The house is designed in a Neo-Palladian style. This is a classical style, harking back to the ancient world of Rome. English Heritage has managed the house and the estate since 1986. It's been in the public domain since the early 20th century, and the gardens around the house are a public park, well loved by the local community. But in recent years, not much had been invested here. And the park was becoming tired, the sports facilities, the woodland areas needed attention, and the house itself was damp and often closed to the public. So we felt it was time to do something about that, to restore the house to the glory of its days as Henrietta's home, and also to open up the gardens, recreate the core of the 18th century garden as she would have known it, and improve and enhance all the sports facilities and public amenities for the general public.
Over the last few years, we've been transforming the garden here at Marble Hill, and part of that has been making sure we open up these woodland areas. These were completely inaccessible 5 years ago, and these are areas which we've taken back to that historic design from the mid-18th century. We've done some brilliant work in making sure that we put nature conservation and biodiversity at the heart of this project. So that involves things like wildflower meadows, planting over 350 trees, and making sure that we leave some of our grassland to make sure it has much more beneficial for pollinators and other wildlife. None of this would have been possible without our really hard-working group of garden volunteers. And they've spent hours and hours planting all of the plants that you can see at Marble Hill today. And that's brought it together to make this garden look really beautiful.
This project has been about people and about the community, and it's great to be able to celebrate them through Marble Hill Revived. Whether that be through our apprentice programme, where we've invested in people to be able to give them opportunities to learn and to explore their full potential, or whether that's to working with our fantastic volunteers. In 2019, we didn't have any volunteers here, but now we have 240 who bring their brilliant talents to help us with our research, to help us with our gardens, and also to help us with our events and now the house. And it's such a joy to work and be with them.
We've done a huge amount of work at Marble Hill to make it what it is today. We are in the dining parlour, and the wallpaper was put up in the early 2000s, and remarkably it has kept its colours. And this is something that is very important to us, that we keep the colours, because once they fade, you can't get the colours back. And the way we do that is by putting blinds on the windows, just to keep the light levels down. We put UV film onto the window panes, and that again is a way of stopping the damaging effects of light onto the wallpapers. Using the environmental monitoring system together with the building management system, we can make sure that all the rooms are at a stable level which best protects the collection. And my role is to care for the collection. And the idea is to have this collection for everybody to enjoy, but also for your children and your children's children to enjoy too. So we are very much looking long term, and that is the role of a conservator, is to conserve our beautiful heritage.
I'm in the Great Room at Marble Hill. This was the room where Henrietta Howard entertained her guests. To get to the Great Room, you climb a spectacular mahogany staircase and arrive in a high-ceilinged room with wonderful views of the garden and the river to the south. And this is a room where we have been able to bring together a few of the objects that actually belonged to Henrietta. When she died, she had stipulated that her collections should be kept together. She didn't want them dispersed or sold, but that's sadly not what happened. Almost every item that had been in the house when she lived here disappeared from the house. There are a few items now, though, in this room, which we can show you. The interior of the Great Room at Marble Hill is distinguished by its symmetry, and that's an important element in the neoclassical architectural design that Henrietta wanted to achieve here. In this room, there were originally 4 pier tables, of which only one now survives. The table, until recently, was gilded, and when we began a conservation project on it, we undertook some paint analysis and discovered that originally the table had been not gold, but a colour closer to white. We have reproduced its original colour, and we also commissioned a replica table to sit alongside it to restore some of that symmetry to the room. This is a lacquered screen, a folding screen, which you could move around the room, and I think was probably used to exclude drafts or to kind of create a slightly smaller space to sit in. And it's lacquered with a Chinese design on it. And we know it was Henrietta's because it has on the corner her coat of arms. Among the paintings in the Great Room are 5 which we know were here in Henrietta's day. They are slightly fanciful collections of famous Roman ruins and temples. So this was a way that she could experience the sights of Rome without actually visiting. And it's very much in keeping with her desire to recreate a little bit of ancient Rome here in Twickenham.
It's been great to be able to celebrate many parts of the project, but also to celebrate the history and using the story of Henrietta to inspire and in some cases change people's lives. Working with people who have been victims of domestic abuse has been a real joy for them to find togetherness and to express their feelings through art, through nature, and also through planting a tree that they've named the Henrietta Tree of Hope. Our other project has been working to explore Henrietta as a woman of disability. She went partially deaf at age 30, so within the house there is now a soundscape that has been created by deaf charities and also deaf musicians to be able to share about her disability, but also to think about what it would have been like 300 years ago to be able to hear or not to hear, as the case may be. Inside the house there is this hearing horn, and that soundscape sits there as testament to the work that we've done with the community.
You're welcome to enjoy the home of Henrietta Howard. When you walk through the door, you're going to feel what it was like during her life in Georgian England. We've got a fantastic family trail for people to enjoy and explore the park and the landscape, and also the house as well as the play facilities, the sports fields and the new cafe. You're welcome to come and enjoy Marble Hill.